Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and this video we're breaking down the final Last of Us Season 1 trailer. The new look has just released online, and it's packed with Easter eggs, a big cameo, and callbacks to the game that give away a lot of what's going to be happening in the episode. By the looks of this is really similar to how the game plays out, and because of this, I'm dropping a heavy spoilers warning for the ending. This will probably give the game away, literally, if you haven't played it, so if you don't want things ruined, then I recommend you turn off now. Without the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the Last of Us Episode 9 trailer.
After all we've been through, it can't be for nothing. There's no halfway with this. We finished what we started.
Okay, so throughout this we can hear Ellie's voiceover, which is identical to these lines in the game.
After all we've been through. Everything that I've done. It can't be for nothing.
This happens in a scene in which Joel and Ellie come across some giraffes, and we get a major moment with them in which we see some of the beauty in the world. This scene was just the pair taking a breath from all the mayhem they'd gone through, and it showed us that though humanity was on its last legs, the rest of the world wasn't. This was a final push to the fireflies, and at this point Joel offered Ellie a chance to turn back so they could go and live the rest of their lives together as a quote-unquote father and daughter. Ellie said they had to keep pushing though, and that all of the deaths like Henry and Sam, Tess and so on had to be for a reason, so they kept going. Seems like they're pulling lots of elements from that final part of the game, and the trailer starts off on a highway like the chapter does at the end. We open with Ellie looking at a deer engraving on the wall, and she's clearly zoning out and remembering the time she ran into David after chasing one. Joel then interrupts her, and throughout this section, he does most of the talking whilst she's quite withdrawn and clearly realising that this is the end. Gonna be me after next Sunday, cause them channel views about to tank. Now we see Joel in a dark grey shirt and Ellie in a red checkered one, and these are the clothes that the pair both wore at this point in the game. They're on a long road, which is how the chapter opens, and we can see a sign saying Salt Lake, which is where everything goes down. If you cast your mind back to the end of episode 6, then you'll remember they came across a map of Salt Lake and a pin with St. Mary's written on it. This is St. Mary's Hospital, which is where the fireflies are holed up at, and this is also a location where they can manufacture a vaccine. Now we see them moving through a tunnel, and on the other side of this you can catch a couple of grey military trucks. My guess is that this is the federal quarantine camp that they passed through in the game, which is where Joel finally opens up about Sarah. Ellie ended up passing him a photograph of him and his daughter that she stole from Tommy, and is very much him realising that he can't outrun his past. The photo is something that Tommy tried to give him back in Jackson, but he refused to take it, whereas here he finally acknowledges her death and moves on from the pain. This is because of Ellie, but the pair don't get much more time together. They're captured by Firefly soldiers. I'm guessing this happens when the flashbang rolls towards them. Now in the game, they went underground into a tunnel, which is where they came across the infected. After making your way past them, you found another tunnel which had burst, and water was piling through, which is when you tried to get across it. You jumped into a bus that was caught in the stream, but this came loose and Ellie ended up having to save Joel. The pair were both pushed underwater, and in the end, Joel had to swim her to the surface. She was unconscious, and as he tried to save her, the fireflies arrived and then knocked him out. Joel then woke up in hospital with Marlene at his bedside, and she told him that Ellie was being rushed into surgery. Good news is that they're going to create a vaccine, but the bad news is that Ellie has to die in order to do it. Joel was then escorted outside by a guard, and he ended up going full on Rambo mode and walking through the hospital, using it as a shooting gallery. We see this playing out in the trailer with him walking through the corridors firing a gun, and this is him basically making sure he doesn't relive through the pain that he experienced in Sarah's death. Joel then rescued Ellie, killed Marlene, and drove away, which is when he lied about everything that went down at the hospital. Ellie was completely deflated, and we then got a shot with her sat in a car looking at her arm. This pulls directly from the game too, with it happening after their ride breaks down just outside of Jackson. So it seems like it's all going down that way. And we have a couple of extra shots in the trailer that we haven't discussed yet. The first of these is a woman running through some trees. We then see her pushed against a wall, and an infected person scrambling towards her. Now playing this woman, big cameo, is none other than Ashley Johnson, who also voiced Ellie in the game. After Troy Baker's performance as James, we're following things up with Ashley, playing who's rumoured to be a pretty pivotal character. According to the reports, she'll be playing Ellie's mother Anna, and thus this is likely a flashback to when she gave birth to her. Little is known about Anna, but she was mentioned in the Last of Us comics called American Dreams. We found out that she was a nurse before the outbreak, and that she'd been friends with Marlene for a long time. An important thing to bear in mind as well is that Ellie's switchblade belonged to her, so we might see some stuff being set up in this scene. They're clearly trying to make her resemble Ellie a lot too, and she even has a dark green jacket on. This is something that Ellie's worn throughout the show, and it, this might even end up being another hand-me-down that's given to Ellie. Now, another thing that we know about Anna is that she died within a day of giving birth to Ellie. I'm guessing this is connected to the infected person, and this creature could end up biting her while she's about to give birth. This could then give Ellie a mutated version of the cordyceps, and it could explain how she's got her immunity. Now this flashback's likely going to be a Last Crusade sort of opening, where we see Elliana Jones getting all the stuff that make her her. She's the only person who doesn't get infected, she gets a knife and this green jacket. It might just be that all coming together. Now we also have a shot of Joel looking worried, moving through a building with orange sheets hanging up behind him. It creates a feeling of panic due to the screen almost being awash with red lighting, and I think it could happen at 2 points. The most obvious of these is at the end when Joel moves through the hospital, and hospitals having this colour schemes popped up in the franchise. During The Last of Us Part 2, Ellie chases a character called Nora through a WF hospital, and this ends up having red lighting once they get further into the infected zones. Could be something like that, or it could be before the draft scene happens. Ellie ends up running off after spotting one, and then Joel has to chase her. Pretty much a nothing burger, but it makes a great trailer shot with the lighting and panic on Joel's face. Now this then leads into the last conversation before everything goes down, and it looks like that's how it's playing out. They don't really show the ending scene in this trailer, but they do show lots of things leading up to it, so I'm guessing that things are going to play out similar to how they do in the game. If that's the case, then I'm very excited, as that's got my favourite game ending of all time, and it carries such ambiguity with it due to us constantly wrestling back and forth over whether Joel did the right thing or not. Sure, he saved Ellie's life, but it was at the cost of the rest of humanity, and he also lied, so there's lots of complicated character moments happening in these final few scenes, if it plays out that way. Now, I think the series has really knocked it out of the park at points, and if they recapture what made the game's ending so good, I think we're going to have a really brilliant episode. Plus, we have the Ashley Johnson cameo. It looks like this is going to be an amazing way to close out the season. Anyway, thank you for sticking with me. And if you want to support the channel, then make sure you check out our Last of Us inspired Real Fun Guy t-shirt, which will be linked in the description below. Helps us pay for editors, and it allows us to keep the lights on, so we can bring you breakdowns like this every day if you enjoy them. If not, then you can support by just leaving a comment and giving your thoughts on the trailer below. We're also running a competition right now and giving away the Rocky 4K box set of 3 subscribers on the 15th of March, and all you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the teaser. We pick the comments at random on the 15th, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of episode 8, which will be linked on screen right now. Lots of really good stuff in that episode, so definitely head over there right after this. Prior to the breakdown too, all the team's done a really good job on it, so yeah, go on. Just give it a click, give me a little view. If not, yeah, see you next time, you f***ing arsehole. F*** off.